Alright, today we're talking about router and router safety. This is a router. It can be a very good friend of yours, and it will make your ordinary woodworking project into a professionally done woodworking project. What it does is it cuts a fancy edge on your project. Number one, all workpieces must be securely held down while routing. This router, the head on the router, the cutting head right here, will spin at about 20,000 RPM. What that means is it spins around in a circle 20,000 times per minute. Now that's very fast, and because it is so fast, it has a lot of force or a lot of torque, and that torque can get you in trouble if you don't know what you're doing. So make sure you're holding onto your piece securely while you're routing. Number two, the size of the bit and the material being cut determine the speed and the feed. Now the speed on this router is set at about 20,000 high speed revolutions per minute. However, the feed is how fast you feed it into that blade. So the type of wood, maybe pine versus oak, it would make a difference. Where pine is soft, you can go a little bit faster. Oak is harder, you would go a little bit slower. Number three, fasten the router bit and the collet securely before turning on the router. Alright, the collet is the device that holds the router bit. Much like a chuck on a drill press, the collet holds the router bit. You want to disconnect power from the router when adjusting the depth of cut or changing the bit. Obviously, you would not want your hand to be in the area of the blade and have it accidentally go on. And number five, remove the router bit from the collet before leaving the machine. In this case, if you put the router bit in, I want you to take it out. However, because of the fact that if you do not tighten a router bit in tightly into the collet, it will actually work its way out of the collet, and it could actually go flying out of there. If that would happen, obviously it would cause some great danger to you or anybody around here. And I have heard of stories where a router bit actually gets lodged into the concrete wall across the room because it goes flying with such force. So again, number 3, 4, and 5 refer to putting a bit in the collet. I do not want you doing that. However, I want you to be aware of how to do that and the safety that should be taken place while you do that. Number 6, always feed boards from the right to the left. Because the blade spins like this, you would want to feed into the cutting edge of the blade. Because it is spinning so fast, it does have a whistling or a very loud whining sound, much like an engine on an airplane, a jet engine that would be. So hearing protection is required. There is usually ear protection by the machines. If not, you can find some by the planer. 8, always feed boards at a slow, constant speed. Again, if you go too fast, you will rip gouges out of your board because it is going faster than the blade can cut. Number 9, make sure the bits are clean and sharp. If the bits do get dull and dirty, they will begin to burn your wood. And if it starts burning, it will start smoking, and we all know that smoking is not good for ourselves. Number 10, don't make too deep of a cut, always make 2 passes. It's very important that the first time you take a little bit of the material away. The second time around, you're going to run your board right next to this wheel bearing, holding the edge nice and tight to it, and it will cut a nice smooth cut all the way around your board. It is important that before you route, that the edge of your board is sanded smooth and all nicks and marks and imperfections are sanded out. If they are not, because the bearing here on the router bit follows the edge of your board, any of those nicks and marks will be transferred to the top edge here when you route it. Alright, so it's very important that you spend time and clean up the edge of your board before you route. Alright, so again, the 2 biggies that I want you to be aware of, you feed from the right to the left, and you always make 2 passes. And then obviously hearing protection is required. Right now I am going to route with a chamfer bit. A chamfer bit will knock a 45-degree angle off of this sharp edge, making it look pretty sharp here. As you can see, a routed edge is nice and smooth all the way around.